Hey, how's it going, everyone? Just back in with another lesson on the mark of the beast. And I went over this on a recent hangout with, I believe it was LOP, who said, what I think we all know now is that if the mark of the beast is this, that wouldn't be a deception because the whole world would know pretty much, that the Bible's true. Matthew 24:24, for there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. So the deception, including the mark of the beast, has to be clever, okay? It can't be just obvious, like literal, like that, okay? And then, because not just the elect, but the entire earth pretty much wouldn't be deceived by it. I guarantee you that I could convince somebody, even people who've taken that if that thing comes out, to not do it, because it's like incredibly evil, and then there's no coming back from it. You just got to read the Bible to them and then prove different things. And then that's even amongst a group that are zombies, okay? And so that's not a deception, okay? And so it has to be clever enough to deceive the very elect. And this is why I put myself out there as a candidate, that the elect are going to be as sharp as me. They're not going to be gullible people, because again, they follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth, in this case spiritually. And so they're not going to be stupid people, okay? They're the cream of the crop. Would you get the elite? Could you deceive the elite on this earth about, like, here's a hamburger from McDonald's. It's good for you. Just go ahead, eat this every day. You think they're going to fall for that? Okay. They know what's in that stuff. They own all those companies. So, and God owns all them. But no, they're not going to fall for that kind of thing. They're not stupid. And so they're not stupid enough to do that or anything like that. So think about the very elect on God's right-hand side. So God's left-hand side, or Satan gives them more information than God gives his right-hand side, the elite on the right-hand side? No, that's ridiculous. So I'm the bare minimum, okay? But that's still a substantial amount with what I know about the Bible. And it's all very obvious, I would say, in these days, which is a gift. So it's a clever group, okay? And so the deception has to be clever enough to potentially, deceive them. And so they have to have God's spirit, and then dig into a few words and all that. Again, it takes more than like a few minutes, but it proves that the mark of the beast is not like a microchip or anything like that. Because again, the elect would be the people that would need to be saved and be rescued. Because again, we know that the mark of the beast has to be out, not fully, okay, according to Revelation 16:2, which is the first plague in the wrath of God, and Christ returns prior to that, according to 1 Thessalonians 5:9. So the mark of the beast has to be out, in a good number, in order for Revelation 16:2 to be fulfilled. These sores put on their body, because it's the first plague. So, it's important, for when Christ will return. If there's no mark of the beast even started, then you can't even talk about Christ's second coming. And that's why, again, Tahar and all these other people are false prophets, and really everybody in human history, okay, who said that Christ is going to return now or in my lifetime and all that, like I say. But the nice thing about what I say is that the mark of the beast is out, okay? And let's look, just because I check this once in a while, what I teach, what the mark of the beast is. I'll put that link below to prove it. It says, again, these stats could very well be wrong, so I'm not saying that these are accurate, okay? But worldwide, there has been 7.81 billion administered, okay? So that needle has karagmad, skin, marked skin, 7.81 billion times, okay? And so this is why the Bible also says their sins have reached unto heaven, okay? And so, 43% of this entire flat earth has been, that, okay? And so now we're in the ballpark, is what I'm trying to say. And so that's, again, why I make, and the speed that they did that, which is God, identifying his left-hand side, which is what the mark of the beast is. No one's choosing to be on his left-hand side. You know what? I was born neutral. I'm going to just choose your own adventure. No, God chose this adventure, okay? All of these things are predetermined, okay? And so people are talking about free will, and they don't have a choice and all that, like people like Mike, who don't know anything about the Bible. And so God is doing this, okay? And it's God's hour of temptation in Revelation 3. And so he's just identifying it. He could have picked anything to do it. It doesn't matter, okay? But he's used this. And so, ultimately, again, it has to be clever enough to deceive his elect. And so this is why I say, with how quickly they did that percentage, that's a lot, in a relatively short period of time. And then it wouldn't take much longer, to do the rest, and then or get to an appreciable number. And so after those sores hit in Revelation 16, that becomes the bigger issue. Because again, like I just said, it's billions of people. 3.33 billion have taken it fully, and then that's not even including all the roosters that are going on now. So, and that's an interesting number, 3.33. But anyway, it's a lot, okay? And so that's why I say that, if this narrative goes through, and then it's just another one of these, quote, pandemics or endemics, they call it now, then the Bible's not true. Rest comfortably. Find another religion or make up your own religion, as what I would actually recommend, with all the things that you've learned and found out to be false. And then, you can go and set up something that will help future generations or something like that. But not the Bible, okay? Not Christianity. And then if you knock Christianity out, it knocks a lot of other religions out as well. Islam, because it's tied to it. It supports certain narratives in the Bible, not Christ's sacrifice, but other things. And, obviously Mormonism's gone. Jehovah's Witnesses are gone. Even probably certain aspects of Scientology will use the Bible. And so really anything that has its hook into the Bible is dismissed. Okay. And obviously Judaism. So they're all gone. Okay. Overnight, pretty much. And so that's the times that we live in. And so we're in those times, okay, without a doubt. And then again, if this is not the mark of the beast, in my opinion, the Bible is not to be taken seriously. And so because, like it says here, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. So the elect and even some atheists would not be deceived if the mark of the beast was literally a microchip here and a brain implant in your head. Are you kidding me? Give me a break. So that mark in the forehead is spiritual, okay? And that's obvious because Revelation 16:2 says that God's left-hand side, not all of them will take it, like the elite. They're not stupid enough to take that, so they have to have a mark somehow, okay? And they're marked spiritually, in their mind. The same way that God's elect were sealed in Revelation 7 was in their mind. It's the same forehead, okay? And so it's a spiritual mark. And so that's a catch-all. And so it catches everybody, okay? So even people who don't take this, they still could be in for the sores if they're on God's left-hand side, and it's been predetermined, okay, from the beginning. And so, rest comfortably or whatever, but you can't go and convince somebody to be on God's right-hand side or left-hand side. They're already there, okay? And then once they say some things and then hold fast to them, then you know for sure what side they're on. And I know a majority of people on this earth, and even the quote-unquote truthers that come by my channel, you're on God's left-hand side. First of all, you're typing different things every day, and then making up new things. Like Edgewise will make a new comment every day, and then you'll talk about how he's the elect. Oh, I think God did this. Oh no, he's stopping this. He wants us to rewrite. He just makes up stuff every single day. And then other people like End Times Teacher and Bible Defender 144 still believe that the mark of the beast is this. Okay, and if they're wrong on that, then they're absolutely toast. Literal, they're toast. Okay, and so this is the incredible times that we live in now, where the position of the mark of the beast being that is obvious, okay? Because it has to be slightly deceptive, okay? In order to deceive the very elect, who the end times will be cut short for their sake. And so why would it be cut short? Because the mark of the beast has to be out, okay? And then they have to not want to be a part of it because it's required to buy and sell. So they see it happening, and then they're like, well, I don't want to, and I can't be a part of that anyway. And so then they need salvation. The mark of the beast is one of the ultimately many reasons, but that system culminating to that agenda is why they don't want to be here, and they're not allowed to be here because it violates God's laws. And this actually violates multiple of God's laws, okay? This technically violates just one, okay? And so this violates many, okay? And so it's worse, and it's permanent. This one, you can just take it out, okay? And then if everybody's doing this, it's obviously still evil and can be very easily manipulated, but it actually also, it sort of puts everybody on the same playing field, because then obviously they'd require the politicians to do it as well, because you can't just go into a Chipotle and watch for certain people not go in. People would call that out, be like, hey, how come that person doesn't have to do it? The governors and all that, Hillary Clinton, and then now you can track where they are. And so there will be basically no more scandals anymore, because they'll be like, well, just pull up the records. Where was that person? Okay, and then, oh, okay, you were there. Okay, and then like you were at Bohemian Grove or whatever they want to say. and then you basically will have no crime because like the AI would just sort out exactly where you were. And then you can't steal a car, you can't do anything because then they'll just see, oh, okay, this person was, I mean, they're taking off with that car, okay, and then you basically cannot have any crime. And then it's again, it's still like a dystopian world, but it sort of levels out everybody, because then everybody can find out where everybody else is, and then you basically will not have like infidelity and stuff like that because everybody's going to know where everybody else is or have access to that. And then once it's logged, if there's a reason for it, let's say you're going through like a divorce, they could just petition to get that information to prove the infidelity or whatever. And then murders and everything like that. Okay. And then, people doing, things with like, young people and all that, like it'd be still possible, I guess, but it'll be much harder to get away with those type of crimes. So there's a sliver of virtue in it is what I'm trying to say. Again, I'm not lobbying for that. And I'm not going to be here on the earth anyway if that ever were to happen. And then if it were to happen, the Bible is not true. Okay. Because God then hates his law. And but the Bible says from beginning to end, he loves his law and it's eternal. And so he would be forcing people to jump over a hoop, break multiple of God's laws in order to get to a time period and then to avoid one of them. Okay. And that wouldn't make sense, to me. And so again, I think everybody knows exactly what the mark of the beast is. It could not be more obvious. And then if it is the mark of the beast, then the Bible's true. Okay. And then we would expect everything prophesied beyond it to happen, the sores and then the fire, okay, coming from the heavens. Christ in the presence of his holy angels in these so-called UFOs. Okay. And so the deceptions have to be clever. And even the concept of what the 501c3 church has sort of floated out there of one antichrist, that wouldn't work because it has to deceive the very elect. And so the elect know now that they're the only people that have the truth, okay, because the election have obtained it and the rest were blinded. And so they don't even trust other Israelites or other truthers. They will only look for and trust, quote, trust the other elect. And ultimately they only trust the Most High, okay? And so, no, they're not going to care what one antichrist says or anything like that. They're like, majority of these people are antichrist and actors. And so, it has to be clever enough to deceive them. And I'm a low bar, but I'm a very solid low bar, okay? And so, that won't get past me, okay? And I ultimately will only take anybody seriously theologically if they understand that this earth is flat and stationary, and then they know that this is hell, because then they know their surroundings, their physical surroundings, and then their, quote, spiritual surroundings. And I'm the only person who teaches both of those with a fervor. Okay. End times teacher will sort of joke around about the flat earth, and then he'll say hell's not a real place, and then he'll correct himself and say, oh, no, it's the earth. Because his job is not to remind people that all 54 references of hell in the Bible is this earth. He'll say one instance is like a mental condition. He'll have to like dilute it in a subtle way. But I'm the only person, and again, he's quote unquote next in line, and that's why I interact with him, almost exclusively, because he's the only other person that I can take seriously, and so I give him credit for attaining those two and then pushing them to some amount, but he's the only one that I know. So he was asking me, where are all the other 144,000? I only know him, okay, who agrees with me on those two things, and that's not about all the other things, the two witnesses, Mystery Babylon, all that. And so how, of all these 3 or 4 years that I've been on YouTube, he's the only one. And so, and if he were to go and try and find another person who teaches the exact same things as he does, he won't find anybody, okay? Because they'll always disagree on one thing, or multiple things. And so it's not surprising to me at all that the elect are isolated from one another, okay? Because of how varying the doctrines are in the days that we live in now. And again, that's Bible prophecy. Okay, we're in Babylon, which is like confused. And so God is doing this, okay? You can have somebody agree on 7 out of the 10 points that I teach, and then the 3 I'll call them Antichrist. 9 out of the 10, 9.5 out of 10. I'll meet you halfway on that one. I'm like, you're Antichrist, okay? And so I don't care. And so you're either all in, on my the sequence and narrative, which the Bible very clearly articulates over and over again, or you're not. You're in the congregation of the dead, or you have to see it to believe it, and then you'll be part of the mixed multitude. And so, that there's only like a few options really. And so, this is amazing. where the Bible is basically obviously true or obviously not true, because the deceptions at this point are so ridiculous and so obvious that it not only would not deceive the elect, it wouldn't deceive an everyday average person who just like has a functioning brain. And this is what I love about the YouTube comment section. I know they removed the dislikes, but people are like, if you can't see what's going on now, like you'll never get it. Like just everyday average people are writing that under this. Like if you don't see that this is an agenda, if you don't see that this is not what they say it is, then your brain doesn't work. And I see that comment regularly, okay? And it's not a spam comment, it's different people saying it in different ways. And so this again, why it's very obvious, that if this is not the mark of the beast, then the Bible is not the word of God. Okay, it's very, very clear. And so, but if it is, then I claim that I'm not deceived because I know what it is. Okay, and then we know what's coming up next. It's Christ's second coming, bringing the two witnesses here. Okay, and only the elect can make a statement like that. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye.